Okay, I guess we are on. Hi everyone, welcome to another edition of High Talks. Today we are here for our High Talk number 13, and today, as always, we have a really special guest with us. We have Cristiano Marques with us today, and also our, I would say, High Talks veteran, André Amaral, is here with us today as well. For you to know, Cristiano is the director of software development at Vopak, and he's here today to talk about how to tackle technical debt and legacy systems with OutSystems. So, hi Cristiano, hi André, how are you?
Hello, João. Thanks a lot for having me.
Okay, we have we are the ones that are thankful for having you here at the iTalks today. So. Before we start, and I'm sure you are buzzing to start this conversation, let me just ask you, as for the ones that are watching this at home, as I do always, to drop us a like, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We would appreciate that. We have plenty more content like this coming up for you in the near future. If you have any type of questions that you would like to ask me, Cristiano, or André, you can drop them on the comment section of this video. We will answer you right away. So let's start. André, can you lead this talk on?
Yeah, sure. Cristiano, first of all, thank you. It's a pleasure to have you here in our High Talk. Today, I'm struggling with my voice, as you noticed, but I'm sure that I think the most important is your insights and not really my voice. So once again, thank you. Let me start by one of the topics that we are going to talk today. It's about legacy systems. And in your experience, you know, and you have seen how legacy systems can hold companies back. So my first question to you is, what is the first domino that needs to fall when starting a modernization journey to fight back this huge problem companies have?
Good question. In my experience, especially at Vopak, rarely has to do about technology. So we started by looking into the organizational willingness to rethink how are we creating the value we're creating. So in this case is that we had an old ERP and we are creating a new one that fulfills much more broader scope than we had initially. and instead of just assuming the truth as it was versus let's do it as it is, we wanted to modernize the tech stack. So that's why we also chose OutSystems, and we kept the product evergreen by updating it and having it side by side with the product versioning as well. But also think how can how the departments collaborate, how are decisions being made, and how to manage the risk approach that we had to be able to have a different deployment lifecycle, because that also changed quite significantly. So in the end, the cultural was the key that led to a technology decision that will lead to an agile approach, or whatever approach the company decides to take. And it's a domino effect that in that case that falls. And the first one is indeed challenging the status quo and to make something that we believe now it's much better than we had before.
Yeah, definitely. And when we are talking about in a life cycle, I'm sure that when you're starting modernizing, is not just a back-end story, it's also a front-end. We love front-end stuff. So can you reimagine the front-end, accelerate the elimination of legacy and improve user experience, in your opinion?
Definitely. So I think a modernized front-end gives the most visible impact. So that we are building product for 10 years. So the product that we had before, so let's say it's even 15 years older than it is. So we had the chance to have the wow effect right from the beginning, right? So of course, throughout these last 10 years, as you are the experts of UI, you also seen a dramatically change in how we approach UI, and we try to keep up with that. I think there is here a very interesting approach jointly with practices that have been modernized, such as let's measure CSAT directly from the screen. So let's make sure that we have KPIs to measure customer satisfaction properly, end to end, and understand how the applications are being built. So all of that leads to, I think, we reimagine now how we tackle front end, and how to minimize as well any type of debt that it can create compared to years ago, where the focus was making sure the business logic was working, right? So not really how fancy the UI would be and how can that help. So that definitely means that front end is our gateway for modernization in terms of the interface, where we give the first thing we give to the user.
Yeah, one of the things that we have noticed, especially in such big environments like Vopak, is that a bad front-end architecture can create just as much technical debt as, for example, legacy backends. In your opinion, how do you think we can prevent that?
Yeah, not to sell your own fish, but definitely an inconsistent design system is key, right? So having a proper design system, so making sure that we create a limit between an unbalanced ecosystem and also a proper documented UI with the user experience that is consistent across all the OutSystems applications, but in the end for the end user might be the same, which is for our case that we have a suite, multiple products. We have to make sure everything is consistent. And in the depth part, we have to consider that every time we deviate from it, we are going to make this hard to scale. So we are going to have a lot of versioning, a lot of components that suddenly iterate. Especially in our case, the planning part is very complex, a lot of Gantt charts that are probably already far too complicated to begin, but at least we need to make sure that everything else from the UI, UX exists in that ecosystem of the design systems, and therefore it's not something people should start to reinvent the wheel. So definitely one of the things we had to do is having this piece of the puzzle, and jointly with the creation of the COE, which we've made 4 years ago, we oversee that as a practice. So we oversee making sure that the teams, as soon as possible, jump into the COE practices and make sure that they don't jump into, okay, let me just go to the Forge and download something new. First, make sure that the UI and UX team can deliver it in the design system. that is, in my opinion, the organizational of the systems, the organization of the ownership, and not overusing frameworks that shouldn't be there. All of this will lead to a consistency and therefore a reduction of the technical debt.
Okay, very good. Thanks. Well, now that you have mentioned, and we also have mentioned, talking about a little bit about OutSystems, how does this technology support the delivery of scalable and maintainable applications that help reduce the long-term technical debt? How do you see that?
Yeah, so there's a lot of pieces of the puzzle here. As we have mentioned a lot in the past, we have a very big factory, which we cannot just use what OutSystems provides, but we use a lot of what OutSystems provides underneath. From our CI/CD is a custom-made product that we've made ourselves, which allows us to manage 29 servers of OutSystems as if it was just a simple factory underneath. Well, so we try to take that complexity off. We make sure that we use the guardrails right away from development to test. So using AI Mentor APIs to make sure that, in this case, architecture dashboard for those that are more outdated, and to make sure that people get directly, you cannot send to test because of this, and that we deem to be a critical finding. So we try to guardrail things already on the CI/CD. We make sure that as a community, everyone is aware that they can expose certain doubts directly during the COE forum. So we call it a technical alignment meeting where people should bring these constraints. We use other tools as well to measure code complexity that are in the market so that we can do jointly with OutSystems. So in terms of CI/CD practices, we have very little that we cannot add at the moment. Mm-hmm. Of course, there are things that could be easier in OutSystems, as everyone knows. Especially unit testing is quite hard to pass by. So those things require much more effort to get into, and those are for us at the moment the piece of the puzzle that would keep us from, instead of going every 6 weeks to production, going every day. So the remaining guardrails of our complexity are mostly safeguarded by the practices that we have established.
Okay. We already talked about legacy. We talk about OutSystems. Talking about software development, we need to talk about AI. So AI now is the buzz. Okay. So, but where are you seeing real practical AI applications helping in the context of technical debt and legacy system modernization? Because one of the things that we are finding in our customers is why not using AI, especially when we are talking about code generation and another different things that now it's possible and that we are seeing in the news and testing in real life.
Yeah. So of course there's AI as a breeder is quite broad at the moment as a what it provides back to us, from ChatGPT concepts to the end agents and how we can apply actually how we can leverage LLMs directly in our day-to-day. So we have a lot of different initiatives at Vopak. I'm going to dive into the ones that fall into either the OutSystems practice or the COE. We do believe that AI is going to be the best to augment the human judgment. So at the moment will be, in a nutshell, can we create even better code, or can we be quicker to prompt a developer on the findings that he's creating? So that we are going to leverage an AI agents creation. We believe that AI can definitely help our developers to make decisions quicker and faster. So that whether that will be, of course, things outside of OutSystems at the moment. So the JavaScript, the SQL, looking into our data models and see where we should refactor and how. We are definitely going to have a usage of AI on our monitoring and observability. So one of the things we had to do, also following up the previous question, is we do stream everything that happens in these 29 environments back to Dynatrace for logging observability, and there we can leverage all of these data sets together with the use of AI. And that would have to be through the usage of AI, because there's so much things that we could be looking at. So it's quite difficult for us to pinpoint. Creating alerts for everything that happens is not feasible. So definitely we'll be using AI there to help us identify some bottlenecks that we might miss otherwise. What else? I think once we can leverage more of the agent solution in OutSystems, there will be for sure where the platform will outshine, in my opinion. At the moment, most of the things we do is around OutSystems, but using the data that we get from the platform.
Okay, but you still believe that OutSystems will reach there?
Well, yeah, definitely. I hope so, because it's what at the moment, looking into platforms that are or into what we call now the vibe coding, right? So that is a huge trend that is going. That is, I don't think it's a competitor of low code, but it's definitely something that follows along with it. And that means that we are suddenly going to have other other companies pushing exactly for the same that OutSystems wanted, which is to get more types of developers that are going to help us deliver more and more with this that we call the shortage of amount of people that can actually help us develop. This is the whole initiative of AI, is to make sure that this shortage ceases to exist and everyone can get their products and their concepts much quicker. I think OutSystems needs to play a role there to make sure that they keep themselves as a valuable platform.
Yeah, I do believe too. Yeah, I agree with you. One of the things that you have mentioned previously was about the culture on fighting back the legacy problem. What mindset or shift development teams need to embrace when moving from maintaining legacy to building modern AI-ready application? Because it's different, no? Right?
Yeah. Something we always did, and funny enough, is how you look into AI today is make sure that people are everyone is the builder of the future. So everyone is looking into, this is my product and how can I make it better, by challenging the status quo, having curiosity and continuous learning. And this is the whole concept of why people use ChatGPT, is I have a doubt and I'm going to take a doubt on, and somehow I'm going to take all of that knowledge to make an assessment of what I wanted to accomplish. The main drive that we had for how much we are leveraging OutSystems has to do with that. We have developers much more close to business, and they can now challenge the business instead of just picking a story and doing whatever they're being told. That creates a very interesting synergy that, in my perspective, is how we are doing the best TMS in the world. I think this mindset is just going to be exponentially increased. So I think we will have access to a lot of information. We will have access to a concise, inclusive way, even, which is instead of reading thousands of books, which I think will make us have quicker decisions and a quicker go-to-market, even on these enterprise level. So I think it's going to make companies that are willing to be the startups and scale-ups or an enterprise something that can actually exist, and completely deviate from a waterfall that was something that existed, I don't know, 15 years ago or 20 years ago. I think the mind shift is going to be just continuing to evolve that, and for companies that nowadays don't have that, and that there are still, the SMEs and everything around that drives the remaining of the product, that will be less and less. So I think everyone is going to have a piece on the decision making on what makes this product better, which will just be, in my opinion, will just create better products because everyone is contributing. And that's how we can see, in my opinion, today, a lot of startups making a lot of money with 20, 15, 30 people. So it's very small companies that actually everyone with leveraging AI are having decision powers that are that are much more substantially sustainable, because they are leveraging a lot of information that comes from LLMs, right? So I think it's definitely a mind shift that for us hopefully is less, because we always try to make sure that everyone feels involved.
Yeah, definitely AI rise up the level from everything. Okay, one of the things that and I promise it's my last question. You work in a company, probably it's one of the oldest company in the world. You probably have worked with different technologies. What and probably one of the things that your peers, and you are a position that you need to fight back everything that can be a pain point in development. What could be your advice, for example, for development leaders that needs to build a roadmap and balance legacy, cleanup, front-end modernization, this exploration AI, but without losing control? I think this is probably one of the things most difficult. Everything, these all variables in equation, and get to the point, right?
Yeah. It's a very interesting balancing act, right? So if you focus on making sure the product does what it does and it's features, you'll very soon be in a technical depth and a manageable platform, right? So making sure that you have an evergreen product in all the ways, so whether from customer needs, new features, and reduce it of depth is the balance we are looking. So I think if you look at it, it's going to be a bit like an investment portfolio, right? Some efforts will reduce risk, like making sure you have less legacy, you are connected with the newest APIs, using the latest tech. So you put something into that, something into all the feedback you're getting from the customer. So making sure you do measure adoption, and you are a sort of a product-led company inside your own organization. So look into that, being like that. And then definitely don't try to be a front runner on AI, but make sure you leverage the quick wins that are already a given today, like making sure you have a chatbot that has a knowledge base. You make sure that all of these things that are already proven to be the very quick wins, and usually thousands of bots nowadays can do that for you, is something that is a given and you should try to use. And then be on top of what is already the next quick win for AI, and just adapt those, because also you can see that the tokenization will always be cheaper. So if you had jumped into 2-3 years ago and you didn't use, you're still using chat OpenAI, I don't know, 1.5, then you probably are spending much more than anyone using 4.3 or whatever, 4.0. So I think this balancing act is something you really need to do. Make sure that you safeguard a good percentage for technical debt. So we do that every release. So we more or less do like two bunches of release per year. And during this release, we come back and discuss what will be the percentage of the next year's release, so that we make sure that everyone is aligned on the goals of the product and the company. So definitely that is something you need to be on top of and discuss that amongst your peers.
Amazing. Cristiano, you have talked a lot of amazing things. Probably each topic that you have mentioned could be a high talk, but unfortunately our time is short. I want to pass João.
Thanks for this conversation. But before we end it, I have a surprise for Cristiano. I have a couple of more questions that we have here from our community that I would like to ask Cristiano. So the first one, and I will start to read it right now. If you could start over in a tech debt heavy environment, what would be your first steps today with everything you know about OutSystems software development?
Assuming that we are going to OutSystems, right? So definitely, if we're new today and looking to ODC as the next platform, DDD will be my go-to exercise. So make sure that you look into your business, create the right domains, and then start step by step in an MVP step, migrating certain domains to the ODC platform. and then you are going to be ready to leverage what ODC has to offer. That would be definitely something I would do. That is an exercise we are actually doing at the moment for our own, for this big TMS product we are doing. So we also look into it as already legacy, since it's already 10 years old. But whether OutSystems or not, having the right architecture for the next technology stack is your starting point.
For sure. So and thanks for the answer, Cristiano. But I have another one here for you. This one is a little bit shorter, but I think it's as valuable as the first one. And this question is: what's one underestimated opportunity for directors of development as you in this year, 2025?
Underestimated opportunity. I'm going to go with what I mentioned before, the quick wins of AI. So yeah, having the right, if you have the right data sets, hopefully you do, so you have good data. If not, focus on getting good data for 2025 so you can leverage AI anywhere, because otherwise it's going to be poop in, poop out. And make sure that if you have good AI, take leverage of the quick wins. So take leverage of knowledge bases to have more feedback from your customers, direct feedback from inside your applications, and then provide also this type of initiatives with whether copilots or AI mentors or any type of AI assistance back to development team. So make sure that the quick wins you are implementing.
Okay, so and that's it for the questions. Thank you, Cristiano. Thank you, Andre, for this amazing conversation, and thank you to the ones at home that stood by till the end and really watched this iTalk with all the insights that Cristiano and Andre brought to us, and also with everything that with all the value that this iTalk had for you. And I'm sure that the ones at home will really apply it in this year 2025. Yeah, with that said, I know that we are at the end of the iTalk, but if you stood by till the end, I'm sure that you have already dropped the like and subscribed to our YouTube channel. If you haven't, please do so right now. And we will see you on another iTalk or High Masterclass, on any other content that we have prepared for you in this YouTube channel that we are really, really liking to see grow. And having more and more people joining us here with this type of content. And yeah, I'm asking you, Cristiano and Andre, let's just end this with a quick photo for our thumbnail, so everyone at home can see it. And yeah, with that said, bye everyone. Thank you all, and we see you on the next one. Thank you, Cristiano, and thank you, Andre. See you on the next one. Bye. Bye.